What we do here is go back.
There we go, I think, possibly, maybe. Yeah, that appears to be working. We'll assume that's working for the point of tonight's stream. Good evening everyone, it's Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. That lovely young lady over there in the corner is Kath, so please feel free to say hello to Kath in the chat, she does appreciate it. And I think she's been replying to some of you already, so anyway, moving on. It is the 6th of June 2020. I hope you're all having a great evening or weekend or whatever time zone it is wherever you are. I guess in the US it's probably kind of afternoon at the moment, is it? I'm not sure. I don't know. I know very little. So tonight's stream we are going to be discussing cool things that we do with our PCs, such as retro gaming. Now the thing that spurred me onto this is this week we've got a few bits and pieces sent to us in the post, and one of which is this little beauty. This was sent to us from our friends over at the Spinning Deal, and this is basically a handheld retro gaming console. It's brilliant, it really is, and we'll be doing a full review on it coming up soon. But what got me thinking is I was enjoying some of the really old coin-op games on here, things like Puzzle Bobble, R-Type, Final Fight, what else was on there, King of Fighters, loads of things like that. So really good stuff that I've really enjoyed. But then I've thought about PC gaming, as you do, because being a PC gamer. What's the matter, Kath?
Ben Shields says he doesn't seem to have any sound, but my sound's okay.
I have sound, I think. Do we have sound? We have sound. Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's a delay. Anyway, PC gaming, that is where it's at. PC Master Race, we do love our gaming, and modern PC games are phenomenal. Let's not beat around the bush. They are absolutely phenomenal. The quality of the graphics, the sound, the gameplay, the cinematics, it is amazing. It really is. But in some way, it's kind of taken away that kind of raw feeling of games as they used to be. Now, I'd started looking into some older games recently. One of my personal favourites is Unreal Tournament. I spent so long trying to master that game. The various maps, the different ways of playing the game, team play, going all out alone like a lone wolf or sniping people, all those kinds of things that we kind of, in 1999 when Unreal Tournament came out, it was kind of almost like a new thing. Quake was around, but not so much as a kind of a multiplayer thing, it's more of like a standalone thing. And we were still really in the kind of early days of the internet in 1999. There's still many households didn't have any internet at all. Few of us had any broadband at that time. Broadband was kind of more later into the 2000s, 2001 maybe. So dial-up connections were all the rage then. So if you had your 56k US robotics modem or whatever modem you had, you'd be dialing in, and if you were very lucky you could play some online games with your friends. But what most of us tended to do back in the day was you'd pick up your PC, you'd pick up your big old CRT monitor, and you would drag your sorry ass halfway across the state or across the town, go to your friend's house or go to a local meetup, and you'd have a LAN session. So basically everyone would plug in their PCs to the local network and you'd play online games just with your local players. No outside sources, just you guys that are sat there sweating your games. And it was so much fun. The games back then seemed so much less complex. The settings, the controls, everything just seemed a little bit easier. Although the games still were pretty punishing to our hardware, and even titles like Unreal Tournament. In some cases you had to upgrade your graphics card. How many of you out there remember having to go out and buy a Voodoo card, or Voodoo 1, Voodoo 2, or maybe a TNT card to try and play the game without it stuttering and being an absolute mess? some really, really fond memories. And to show how old the game is, like it's 20 years old. 1999 is when it came out originally. It was then re-released in 2000 with the Game of the Year edition, which had a few more extra features in it and extra support for graphics cards and things like that. But it even supported software rendering. So for those of you that had a really, really bad time with your graphics card or didn't have any hardware support for textured hardware and lighting, you could render the game in software, and it became even more of a slow, horrible mess. Oh dear, I remember, I think I tried playing it with a SIS 6326 AGP graphics card, I seem to recall. And it was just a horrible mess. And then even things like the Rage 128 from ATI and things like that. Oh dear. TNT cards were where it was at. Rage 128, TNT2s, or anything that really supported the glide drivers was pretty good. So your Voodoo cards, that kind of thing. And it really did bring gaming to a whole new generation of people who had never experienced this sort of thing, like online multiplayer gaming. All that kinds of clans were very much formed. So local people or people over the internet had clans. So you had a clan fights and all that sort of stuff. It was brilliant. Those days were excellent. But it wasn't just Unreal Tournament. There were so many games that came out, and they almost seemed like innovative right back then. We had things like Theme Park, Theme Hospital, Sim City, Carmageddon. That was a classic. Carmageddon was one of the first games that came out on the PC, which actually ended up getting banned or taken off the shelves and then re-released with things like the Blood Pack and the Splat Pack. So if you wanted to add the gore after, then you could do that.
I was right last week. Dave Burns is a sheer shadow.
Oh, right, okay.
Kia.
Sorry, Kath's pointing her finger going, I was right, I was right. She was right. She's talking about Dave Burns. Dave Burns is someone else on our Discord, and it just gets really confusing. So, but she was right. Anyway, I'm digressing. So yeah, these games are amazing. One of the ones that I remember really, really vividly and enjoyed so much, and actually became one of those things where, do you remember actually taking turns on a game with you and your friends? Maybe 4, 5, 6 of you all sat around, either drinking, smoking, whatever it is you did to pass the time. And yeah, myself, Kath, and some other family members, which I'm not going to name, we would spend literally hours playing Motocross Madness, the Microsoft title.
With George Michael outside.
You could put a CD-ROM, remember those kids? A CD-ROM? You could put the CD-ROM in your computer whilst the game was running, and rather than play the actual game music, you would play the CD-ROM tracks. And we played Motocross Madness, sorry. We played that for hours, literally hours. And we had in the CD was George Michael's Ladies and Gentlemen, and it was For the Soul, I think it was, or for...
No, it was the other one.
It was one of the two anyway. And it was Let's Go Outside was the one that kept on playing, and I can't remember what the next one was, but yeah, Let's Go Outside, playing Midtown Motocross Madness, playing the Widowmaker track, and trying to get the highest possible score by doing as many tricks as possible. And we would play that game literally for 6 hours straight, easily, without even thinking about it. We even got to the point where we would still be playing, and you'd hear the milkman going down the road, delivering an early morning round, or
Back in the day when they did that.
yeah, and oh, happy days, genuinely happy days. We got to the point as well where we would go out and buy games. Like Kath and I would take maybe a week off work, and we'd go to our local computer store, which in Bristol was RJ Computers. So if anyone remembers those from Bristol, that was a great store. We go to RJ Computers. I think Kath bought, you bought Sim Tower.
No, I bought Holiday Island.
Holiday Island Kath bought, and I can't remember what it was I bought.
Carmageddon.
It probably was Carmageddon, yeah. And literally, she'd play on it for about 4 or 5 hours while I would sleep on the bed, because we had a bed next to where the PC was, because it was in a spare room. And then literally I'd wake up and she'd be like, oh, you can go on it now. Kath would go to sleep for a few hours. I'd carry on playing. And literally we'd do that for about 48 hours straight. It was ridiculous what it was like to be young. Amazing. Anyway, so that is where I'm at with it. I've got so many literally so many fond memories of PC gaming in the late 90s, early 2000s, and that's what tonight's stream's all about, to be completely honest with you.
Don't forget Mavis Beacon typing.
Yeah, Mavis Beacon typing as well, that was a great one. Really. But that is what tonight's stream's all about. There's so much stuff going on in the world right now which is just completely out of our control, and just, yeah. 2020 needs a reboot. We need to reload 2019 quickly, but until we can do that, let's take our minds off it and let's discuss some of your favourite games from either your childhood or from your early beginnings, or for those of you that are a little bit younger, maybe you didn't get to experience these early games and maybe you want to. Now, a lot of these games have now become abandonware or freeware, and if they're not abandonware or freeware, you can go to GOG.com and you can just pick them up, and they've been remastered, a lot of them, or have had patches on them, so you can actually play them on your modern Windows 10 hardware, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now, yesterday I went out and bought a game for probably about the 5th or 6th time, because I keep on deleting the executables. I bought Unreal Tournament again, and last night, after doing a whole bunch of question and answers on our YouTube, I then went on and played Unreal Tournament for probably a couple of hours. And I had a blast. I'll tell you, I did. I started from the very first level doing the tutorial and all the way through to, I think it was Galleon, which is the last one of the deathmatch games. Wow. I've still got it a little bit. Not as sharp as I used to be. I need to tweak the settings a little bit, but definitely it was a brilliant experience, and it was exactly as enjoyable as it was back then. Even more so now, because the frame rates were so smooth and so silky. Even though the graphics weren't as polished, and I was only running it like 1600 by 900 on my big 32-inch monitor, but regardless of what the resolution quality was like, it still felt and played like nothing else I've ever played before. Unreal Tournament was just one of those games for me which was a real turning point. It was kind of a magical time in my life where things like The Matrix came out as a film.
I thought you meant his son was born.
My son was born as well, but don't worry about that. That's besides the point. But The Matrix came out, it's like, wow, this is completely changing the world. Unreal Tournament came out and became this kind of massive game which went on to sell like 2 million copies within a year, which at that time with PC gaming, that was pretty much unheard of. So this was becoming a big thing, and the PC industry was becoming a big thing. We had Windows Millennium, which was kind of coming out. We had Windows 2000, which was coming out. There was so much going on the PC. Yeah, Slebdak, which the BBC did, which was very bizarre, but that was enjoyable as well. But the whole computer movement, gaming, the whole internet thing, it was starting to gain momentum, and it was really exciting because Kath and I got into it kind of in the 90s, early 90s. So we felt this build-up happening of the games getting better and better. But for us, 1999 going into 2000 was the kind of the real turning point of when gaming actually became real proper gaming and actually became pretty much mainstream. But anyway, I'm digressing. Let's say a quick hello to some of you in the chat. Sorry I've gone on for so long. And also actually, we'll talk about some of the things we got on the desk here, because this week we've been blessed. Praise be to whoever's up there listening to our prayers. But we've been sent some pretty awesome stuff this week. And actually, yeah, I'll go through that. I can't remember the... Did he say we were allowed to say his name or not?
Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah, okay. Yeah. NHU12S from Noctua, sent by Noctua. Thank you very much, Noctua. We appreciate this very much. So I've never actually used the Noctua cooler. All these years of being in the computer kind of game, buying coolers, reviewing stuff, and building other people's PCs, I've never, ever had in front of me a Noctua cooler. And I figured it's about time that I discovered what all the hype was about. So we reached out to Noctua, well, Kath reached out to Noctua on my behalf. And yeah, they were really good and said basically, what do you want? So I didn't want to go crazy and go for the most expensive thing they had, which would be your kind of initial gut reaction. So I went with something which would be possibly what I would be willing to pay at a stretch for a cooler if it was really good, rather than just like spending loads of money. This is what I would see as being the kind of almost the point of where anything more would be a little bit too much and I probably wouldn't do it. And this is what Mike's Unboxing about. We don't waste money on stuff. We like to get the best value for money. I wouldn't spend stuff crazily, unnecessarily. So this really does reflect that entire ethos. So yeah, we'll be taking a close look at that during the week. So yeah, if you want to see how that all goes, and actually if you've got any ideas of what you want to see this put up against, then please do let us know. Also this week, we've been very, very blessed for one of our viewers, Matthew Bennett, who I think is actually in the chat at the moment. Kath has just notified me, so I haven't looked through yet, but Kath assures me Matthew is in the chat. Matthew kindly sent us this, the Fractal Celsius S36 cooler. Now, it was Matthew's own possession, and he's no longer using it, and reached out to us and said, Mike, I don't use it anymore. Would you be interested in it for your reviews and all that kind of stuff? It's like, wow, yeah, thank you. It's very, very humbling when people do that. So, yeah, thanks very, very much. We have sent you a Mike's Unboxing t-shirt and pen as means of a going some way to say thank you for it. So hopefully you'll be receiving that very shortly. But yeah, fantastic. So this is actually ideal because yesterday I ordered a new case from a company called Ions, and it was one that is on UK Hot Deals. It's a really, really cheap case. It's £26 here in the UK. It doesn't have any fans, no RGB, but it's got a mesh front, it's got tempered glass, and it's got a basement. So it ticks a lot of boxes, but I'm wondering if putting something like the Fractal Celsius S36 in a £26 case is going to turn it into like a cooling dreamboat. But anyway, we'll take a look at that. Again, thank you, Matthew. We do appreciate it. Kath's going, yeah. She's nodding. You can't see it, but she's nodding. So either that or she's got some kind of tick. I'm not sure which it is. Also this week, we have been sent by our friends over at Silicon Power. They sent me some RAM to upgrade the trusty old laptop. So this is going to get 16 gigs of RAM. So that is going to be pretty awesome. Looking forward to doing that. So there will be a video for that. Loads of people ask me about this laptop. It is actually a really good laptop, the Acer Aspire A515-43. I've said it so many times now, I know the number off by heart. But people keep saying to me, Mike, what RAM should I get? I want to do an upgrade. I've only got 4 gigs of RAM, or I've only got 8 gigs of RAM. What should I get? What is the best? And generally, Silicon Power is really good stuff. It may not have all the bells and whistles, and it hasn't got any kind of heat spreaders or anything like that, or RGB, but why would you want that for a laptop? It's pointless, it's hidden away. It just needs to be reliable and a decent price, and it's got a lifetime warranty. So we are sticking this into the laptop, so be a video coming out for that. So for those of you that are bored, sick of the back teeth of seeing things about the Acer, I do apologise, but it's got to be done. People are asking for it, so I have to give the viewers what they want. So that is definitely coming up. We also got some Corsair Vengeance Pro. This is RGB RAM, DDR3466. So ultimately, very, very compatible with B450 and X570 chipsets, which at the moment are the two main kind of go-tos. So we'll be taking a look at that and seeing if it can sway me from my usual kind of V-Color or Silicon Power or whatever other brands I've been using. And yeah, we'll see what this is like, see if it lives up to the hype. I hope it does. And for those of you that don't know what that is, the RGB disco ball there is for our super chats. So when we get a super chat come in, that is a notification, and then in theory I'm supposed to try and find it, who's done it, and say hello. Or maybe they just sent a well wish. And is it a well wish? And the British Noob says, is that a MacBook you're using? No. It's definitely an Acer Aspire A5. Oh damn, I messed the name up. Or,
You've been saying it all day.
I've been saying that name all day making videos, and that's the first time I've screwed it up. But no, it's not a MacBook. It is the Acer Aspire A515-43. Yes, did it again. But thank you to British Noob. Okay, so what else have we been? Oh, Silicon Power. They sent the RAM, and they actually sent a new product as well, which I'm not sure is actually on the market yet. So I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to discuss this, but I guess I kind of am already. So yeah, sneak peek. This is Silicon Power's new portable drive. Now this is actually designed to fit on a keyring. A little bit on the large side for a keyring, but I get where they're going with it. So this is basically effectively what is an SSD. So it's got USB Type C or USB Type A, and that is 960 gigabytes of storage that you can put on a keyring. and transfer rates of 540 megabytes per second for read speeds, and write speeds up to 500 megabytes per second. So that is actually quite a interesting proposition, especially with my growing retro games library. So maybe that's going to make... Actually, that's not a bad idea. I've just given myself a brainwave. Kath, write that down. Make sure I don't forget that.
What is it?
So Silicon Power sent that through. That is going to be cool. That is going to be my retro gaming library. I can see that happening. That is a very, very good use for that. And also being portable, I can take it around with me and plug it into other computers and run things like a MAME emulator and stuff like that. Happy days. I'm enjoying this already. This is looking good. Okay, so let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Sorry, I've been ignoring you all for so long, but I got into my little flow and I had my monologue. I'm all good now. I can carry on. So we got Skystalker in the house, Angry Doge is in the house, David Aitken, and looks like most of the Discord crew are in the house actually. British Noob, Matthew Day's in the house. Matthew Day tonight is currently enjoying, or hopefully enjoying, microwavable spaghetti carbonara this time. Good choice. Garlic bread? I think I'd have to have garlic bread with the carbonara. Aletta Liana's in the house. Gary Siatka. Sorry. You know what I'm like. If you have a name like that, I don't... Sitka? Let me know phonetically in the chat what it is, and I'll try not to get it wrong. Probably will do. No, there's no CRTs in tonight's episode, unfortunately.
Perfect.
Sorry?
You got it perfect.
I got it perfect. Bloody hell. Something had to happen. 17-inch CRTs. I actually do miss CRT monitors. When we changed from CRT... Sorry, this is reading a comment from... There was a conversation with Matthew Day and Skystalker and a couple of others. 17-inch CRTs were basically the mainstay of the PC community for a long, long time. We went from the 14s to the 15s in the very, very early... Well, mid-90s, like 95, 96 was kind of 14-inch, 15-inch screens were the norm. Generally running at resolutions like 800 by 600, 480 by 640. If you're lucky, 1024 768, and sometimes you could maybe tweak them a little bit higher. CRT monitors were weird because you could force them to do resolutions that they weren't natively designed to do because of the way the screens worked. So in some monitors, if they had a weird driver, you could actually get a 4x3 screen to do 16 by 12 or 1600 by 1200, and you couldn't read it. It was minuscule, but it was doable. But CRT monitors were probably responsible for making a lot of us quite short-sighted or long-sighted or whatever. Good fun. Half the trees in the house, he says. Oh, hi, Mike. Oh, hi. Ben Shields says hello as well. Milch Monsters in the house. Nigel Thomas is in the house. Randall Lane. Who else have we got? Hopefully I'm not missing anybody out. Matthew Bennett's in the house. Yes. Says, evening, my lovelies. Russell Walton. Skystalker says it's 1:03 PM here on the west coast of NA. Ben Shields says I don't seem to have any sound. That's probably for the best. Wow, this is going to be difficult. Mo Shikinye. Sorry. Super Mario. Now, back in the day, I was never a Mario fan. Now, you may hate me for this, and I agree. What's that?
Out your box.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I was so ignorant to the whole Mario thing. When George actually got that, or no, we got it for him, I didn't have a clue.
Stole it back.
Yeah, I didn't have a clue it was from Mario. I had no idea whatsoever. I was never into Mario. I was always on the kind of Sega and Atari side of things, rather than the Sony and Nintendo side of things. There seemed to be that really kind of weird flip. And also with like Spectrum versus Commodore, Coke versus Pepsi, the list goes on. Anyway, Paul Bakewell's in the house as well. Milch Monster says UT Telefragging. I do remember that. I was never very good at telefragging. The teleportation thing I never quite got. That used to always confuse me and make my brain not work with my hands. And I'd be like, ugh, don't understand what's going on. Couldn't do it. David Aitken says, Skystalker, buy it. A few on the Discord channel have it now. We should have a few matches. Definitely, David Aitken. That is something we're definitely going to have some Unreal Tournament frag matches. Definitely. Randall Lane says, AOL dial-up, lol. Wow, yeah, AOL dial-up. That was a massive, massive thing. AOL basically went from almost nothing to this massive, huge company, and then sold themselves to Time Warner, I think it was, and then basically went and fizzled away into nothing, and they were basically worthless. I wonder if the AOL addresses still work these days. I wonder if anyone actually has got a @AOL.com address still. Someone must have. Dave Burns says, hi guys. And he is David Aitken on... No, he's not. He's the thing I can't pronounce. Achilles or something. Ah, dear. Aletta says, I'm probably the only one here that never got into gaming. It is a thing. Actually, Aletta, that'd be an interesting thing.
She does Minecraft.
Was it? Yeah, because you're into Minecraft, so are you more in the kind of... almost like the Lego and kind of the building kind of thing, so you don't mind Sim Cities and that sort of thing? Or is Minecraft basically just a benchmark? We've got another super chat come in. Now, this is going to be awkward because I can't see where I am here, and
I've got the cat.
Let's see. Who's that come from? David Aitkins thrown in £2 and says, here's to say sorry for the upcoming headshots. Thank you, David Aitken. We do appreciate that.
That's
now,
for you driving your Tesla.
Yeah, that's all going towards me buying my Tesla. I've decided that I'm going to try and save up the Patreon and YouTube, oh dear, and the YouTube Super Chats, and I'm going to put them towards buying a Tesla Model 3.
What's out at the moment?
That's Model 3. So,
what was like 3's out now?
Yeah.
I should have paid them for about 7.
Yeah, so, no, but I'll be able to buy one second hand by the time I've saved up. Kath's saying I should aim higher because of the model numbers, because by the time we saved up enough money. But I'm thinking if I go for a Model 3 in maybe 10 years' time, it'll be about the right price. So we're working towards that goal, people. We're in it for the long haul. If there's anyone I haven't said hello to so far, I do apologise. Matthew Day's building some retro machines at the moment. He's got a Dell 8200. And if it's got a 980 Pro Radeon in there, that is probably going to be ideal for it. Now that was one of the things actually I noticed with Unreal Tournament. The kind of recommended specs back then, I believe, were a Pentium 3. I think you could get away with a Celeron 500. I might be wrong on that. And 64 megabytes of RAM and only 550 megabyte hard drive, which is just mental. If you think most mobile phones have got more memory than that, it's pretty insane. But very, very modest specs, which is why it runs so well now. It really does. I was amazed at how well it runs. And the fact is, once you've installed it, if you go to GOG.com, we're not an affiliate or they're not a sponsor or anything like that, so we don't get any money back, anything like that. But if you go over there, buy the game, it's like I paid £1.69, and yeah, even if I did get commission, I'm not going to get rich off of that, am I? Come on, let's be fair. But you get it, it's DRM free, you can install it on your hard drive, and once you've installed it on your hard drive, you can literally just grab the whole folder with the game in it and copy it somewhere else, and it plays with all your settings still. All the settings are still in there, so you can take it from PC to PC to PC, so whatever you do, you can put it on, I'm definitely going to put it on my portable drive, and I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to be able to play it on... I can pretty much play with it on any PC that I own, because I'm pretty sure every single PC I own is going to be more than capable of running that game. So by putting it on there, I've got Unreal Tournament literally in my pocket on the go. That is fantastic. Brilliant. I love it. Yeah, I'll be mixing paints at work, and I'll think to myself, I've got Unreal in my pocket, yo.
What's keeping you so young, mate?
Yeah. Actually, there is a number plate making machine at work, so that runs Windows 7, so I can probably fire it up on there. Mike, why are those number plates taking so long? Nearly done. Headshot. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Probably most of you that are watching this, if you're of a certain age, you probably don't realise that most of the memes and the kind of sounds from Unreal Tournament are still with us today. So, mega kill, headshot, monster kill, all those kinds of phrases that you hear in games came from Unreal Tournament. They were part of the game. And listening to it last night, I was trying really hard to get a monster kill because it's just great. It's fantastic. It really is. I'm gonna have to set up some really, really rubbish bots just so I can do it, I think. But yeah, it's when you consider how far we've come or how many years, 20 years, you'd expect Unreal Tournament to be absolutely rubbish, but it's not, and it's just so enjoyable and so playable. And it is literally, I haven't played it for years, honestly, literally years, and within 2 minutes, it was just like I'd never left it. It was really, really cool. And it's so easy. You haven't got all these extra keys and bindings. It's just about really, really fast responses. There's virtually no way you can cheat in it because you just got to be fast and react quicker than other people. That is it. It's a level playing field. Everyone's got the same kind of powers, skills, jumps, etc., speed. So that is it. It is literally your skill versus someone else's skill, and a little bit of your broadband, I suppose. If you've got better broadband, you've got a slight edge. But essentially, it levels the playing field completely. So yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, moving on. So what have I missed here? I'm sure someone else. Ninja47. I didn't say hello to Ninja47. Oh my god, how did I even do that?
I think he...
David Aiken says Motocross Madness. What a game! Widowmaker on Motocross Madness was potentially, I would say, arguably that is the best motorcycle game I think I've ever played.
I don't know if it'd be the same with a different joypad though.
Yeah, we had a really special joypad, and not special as in like a bit not right, but special as in it was really, really good. It had bumpers on the top, which was at the time you'd never heard of, and on the front you only had two buttons, A and B. So you had like jump and something, and speed up, slow down. Speed up was A, slow down was B, and the bumper buttons were like the different jumps you could do. And there was just something about that joystick which just made the game so playable. And this is before USB, so well, it wasn't before USB, but it was before USB became mainstream and plug and play. So you had this kind of game port which you plugged into the back of your Sound Blaster card, if those of you who can remember that, or maybe your onboard game ports. So this was like if you imagine that, it's probably a little bit smaller than the SCART socket, and with about 15 pins on it, I think. And you plug that in, and most of the time they work, but you have to configure them in Windows, like calibrate. Can you imagine that these days, calibrating a joystick? Whereas now you just plug it in, press the start button, and you're off. But back then you had to actually calibrate your joystick. It was absolutely fantastic. Captain Me's Adventure says, I've been playing Resident Evil 4. That's quite an oldish game as well. Pong. Pong. Now that is the original game. The original game. That is right, isn't it? That was the first ever game, wasn't it, Pong?
Graphics were great.
Yeah, it was the first ever game.
It's the stick and the square ball.
Oh dear. Good. Dave Byrne says, I loves me some Commandos.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't it? Going to the edge of the map on Motocross.
Yeah.
And it firing
Did someone
back.
just say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Quake was good fun, says Mo. I'm going to shorten your name just a wee bit for the sake of my sanity. So yeah, Quake was great. Quake 3 was really good. I don't know why, I didn't get into Quake 3 as much as I did. I probably played more Quake 2 than I did Quake 3, because from Quake 2 I probably went over to Unreal Tournament, and then that was kind of like my thing then. Ninja47 says, I've recently been using an internal CD-ROM drive for Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth. I've got a lower end PC with a 750 Ti that I use it with. Amazing. Age of Empires still is, in my opinion, the best game. Roller Coaster Tycoon comes close, says the British noob. Roller Coaster Tycoon, again, that was one of those things, wasn't it? We've spent so long playing.
I'm playing it on my phone at the moment.
Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, I think, was the best one, wasn't it? That was the last one of the last
I didn't
ones.
like that so much.
Third one.
It's impossible.
Theme Park. Now, Theme Park was probably the original
Yeah.
simulation game, because that was out on the Mega Drive, which predates PCs by probably about 2 or 3 years.
You couldn't save games on the Mega Drive.
Yeah, and you couldn't save games on it, could you? It was horrendous.
You have to start again and again.
So you have to either sit on your Mega Drive for about 1,000,000 hours trying to complete these games. Yeah, because you couldn't save it, could you? There wasn't any save game option on there.
And then it was lush on the PC.
How did we ever do that? Incredible. Milks Monster says, Quake 3 Arena or those Jedi games? Yeah, Jedi Knight 2. That was, again, that was another game changer. Not only could you play as, I'm trying to think what the character's name was now. I want to say Kyle. I think it was Kyle.
On what, sorry?
Jedi Knight 2.
Don't know.
I think it was Kyle. That was great. Dave Burns Insta-Gib mode on UT with the Pulse Rifers, amazing. Roller Coaster Tycoon, brilliant game, pretty dark too. You could pick up people and chuck them into the lake. Yeah, you could.
Yeah. You couldn't do that on 2 Point Hospital.
Oh dear, no. Japan 1's in the house. I didn't see you in there, so you crept in. Motor Racer, Command & Conquer, Generals, Quake 3 Arena. Yeah, those are all great. Mech Warrior, that was a good game. I forgot about that altogether. That was really good. Skystalker used to play Mech Warrior 2, and he ran a clan from 1996 to 1998. Jabantman says Unreal Tournament, our main. Yeah, Unreal Tournament is... I think Unreal Tournament is probably one of the few games which genuinely has sort of stuck itself into history and has just been one of those games which is still brilliant now. It genuinely is still brilliant. I can't get over how good it still plays. I might actually, I just noticed someone there, Captain Me's Adventure, says about a projector. They were playing Doom on the projector and eat pizza and beer. I am very, very tempted to get the projector out to play some Unreal Tournament on the wall. That would be awesome. Kath's looking at me as if to say, oh Christ,
No, I'm thinking, where
I've got to put up with that asshole all night.
Where am I going to sit?
Where are you going to sit?
You got to do it live streaming.
No.
Okay,
No.
that's fine.
Am I going to do it live streaming? It's not a bad idea.
But where can I sit? Out there.
Oh dear. Matthew Bennett says, no problem, mate. Bless you, mate. That's excellent. Thank you. Do appreciate it. And actually, to anyone else, if you've got stuff lying around that you don't want, and you want to see me have some sort of ham-fisted attempt at reviewing it, feel free to send it in to us. We'll, you can speak to us on Discord or send us an email or something. And if you really, really, really want to, we will send you a Mike's Unboxing t-shirt and a pen to show our appreciation. We are trying to get the pens at the moment, but COVID-19, everything's a bit crazy, so we're still waiting on those. But if you want to donate any components or parts or anything old school which you want us to take a look at on a Saturday night stream, feel free to send it to us. We'll give you the details and you can send it. Where else are we? Skystalker says RGB RAM in a laptop. That would be the ultimate of silly. It would be. I'm surprised somebody hasn't done it, made RGB RAM for a laptop and then made the kind of access door at the back of the laptop into like a clear perspex, just so you can see a little bit of a glow underneath the laptop. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Didn't you used to have backlights under the...
Glenn's in the house, says good evening all. He'll be floating in and out. You like most people, to be honest with you. Click Tech, Kev's in the house. Sorry, Kev, got round to saying hello to you in the end. Kieran Atkinson says, is that the Game Max View, Mike? No, it's not. No, that one behind me is the Sharkoon RGB Lit 100. And it says Marshmallow from the Discord, another Discord. It's all these different names confuses the life out of me, it really does. I am old. Siatka, Gary, got it. Dave Burns says 1024-768. That was where we were at, and if you're lucky, you had 60 hertz. If you pushed it, you might get 72 hertz, 75 hertz, and you were rocking. You have some serious Sony FST going on if you had some 75 hertz refresh rate on your 1040 by 1040. You wouldn't even have 1040. Your 1024 by 768 monitor with 75 hertz. You were like, wow, and 32-bit color. These retro games, we're talking like graphics cards had so little memory on it that some games you literally had to make the choice between 16 bits of color or 32 bits of color. And if you were rocking a Voodoo card, Voodoo cards originally never even supported 32-bit color. They were 16-bit only. So like when the ATI cards came out and they had 32-bit color, it's like, whoa, what is going on here? We've got some serious HDR going on. It was insane. I remember that when you used to first install Windows 95 or 98, even 2000 to some extent, if you didn't have the graphics card drivers or it didn't pick it up, you would literally be rocking 16 colors on your desktop. 16 colors. That's like 8 more than a Spectrum. That's bad. Anyway, moving on. Dave Burns says, copyright strike. What did I do? What did I do?
Doing your Mario.
Oh yeah, the Mario, of course. Domas Marque, or Mark, is in the house, says evening. Trent Shorter says, Alex Kidd built into the Master System too. See, that was the advancement of time then. The Master System originally had no RAM or ROM as such, no spare ROM. So when they put Alex Kidd into it to try and... they did that as a money-saving exercise because it was cheaper for them to put the ROM inside the system than it was to actually make a physical cartridge and the package in and then actually put it inside the Master System 2 box. So to save money, they actually put it inside. The things that we used to have to do. Captain Me's Adventure says, yeah, Mike, projector live stream game. An Alien trilogy. I do fancy playing Alien, the new Alien game, actually on the projector, because I think that would be pretty terrifying in the dark. It's a pretty terrifying game anyway, but for it to be a little bit blurry and for you to have to kind of peer into it and then be scared crapless.
What was that game?
I think it'd be good.
A board game and a video.
Nightmare, was it? No. Okay, people, there's a pop quiz for you. What was the computer game or PC game?
It wasn't a PC game.
Or it might have been...
I think it's a VHS.
And it was a CD-ROM game, wasn't it? When you had to play it on a CD?
Don't know.
Or DVD? DVD it would have been.
No, because it was at my mum's house.
Oh, I don't know. There was a game which was a video and also a board game. Let Kath know what it is in the comments, because I don't know what it is.
Scary one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite scary. It might have been Nightmare.
It might be.
Tadoman says, Mike, I got a Packard Bell Legend 900 Elite. How old is that? I was given it years ago. What to do with it? Oh, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what's actually inside it. I would imagine if it's a Packard Bell Legend 900, that is probably, what, like a Pentium 3, I think? Probably a Pentium 3 in the socket variety, the socket S370, I think. Old school. Grover Clarkson House says, hi Mike and Kath, how you guys? Yeah, we're having a good weekend. It's pretty good. Mo says, hey, I love my Spectrum. I did. I loved my Spectrum. I genuinely did. Spectrum 48K was where it was. Atmosphere. ClickTech Kev's come to the rescue. Kev says SSX3. Yes, another game perfect for stoners. SSX3 was like, what? It doesn't get better than that, does it? Black Eyed Peas blasting out whilst you're snowboarding, stoned out of your tiny mind. Amazing. Like, I've died and gone to heaven again.
explain the circumstances. We put the kids to bed.
Explain the circumstances. The circumstances, we were stoners and we liked playing games.
But we bought George
endlessly.
Xbox for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, this actually there's an interesting story behind this. So the kids were asleep and in bed and tucked away and all that kind of stuff. And it was coming up to Christmas time, and we just bought George the Xbox original crystal version, obviously. And because he was 4, yeah, of course, every kid should have that. And we're like, well, we should kind of test it, make sure it's all working, right? Of course you would, wouldn't you? You'd test it. So we'd get the Xbox out on a night time when the kids had gone to bed.
Every night.
SSX3 till the early hours of the morning, going to work the next day, kind of like, oh my God, what did we thinking? Literally, we had like this really, really comfy ass sofa, and because it was downstairs, we would literally fall asleep on the sofa and then wake up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like, oh crap, we need to go to bed. Gotta be up in the morning for work. We were bad, weren't we? Bad parents.
Another one was Simpsons Hit and Run.
Oh, Simpsons Hit and Run. I couldn't even play Simpsons Hit and Run. I've never watched Simpsons. I'll be honest with you, I've never watched. Yeah, never watched Simpsons. So the very first thing you got to do in Simpsons Hit and Run is go to Mr. Burns' house. I don't know where the hell Mr. Burns. I don't even know who Mr. Burns. Yeah, don't know who he is. Don't know what he looks like. I have not got a clue. I haven't got the internet on. I'm not going to look it up. It's got to be around somewhere. Literally drove around Summerfield or whatever the damn town's called, and I could not find it. And then Kath's cousin came along and said, "Oh yeah, he lives next door." It's like, WTF?
But every night.
Where was the pointers to say it's here, it's here? That would have been helpful.
It was on the map, but we didn't know the map.
Oh wow.
But we got that out every night to test it for him because we're good parents like that.
Yeah, we did test things quite vigorously, yes. Fred Young says, I was using FreeServe for my dial-up. Wow, yeah, FreeServe. FreeServe was great because FreeServe, you could go into your local PC World store and you could pick up a FreeServe disc and you could get online really quickly. It was great. FreeServe eventually, I think, got sold to Orange and became part of Orange's. Orange was like a mobile phone provider in the UK, and they were kind of bought up by that. Kev says there was Brian Clough's Football Fortunes on the Commodore 64, which was a board game and a C64 game in one. Nins47 says I had the Crystal Xbox. I did, and I think I modified ours. Did I modify that one?
You didn't. We got it done by somebody. No, maybe you did.
No, I think I did that one. Yeah, you could get like a mod switch, couldn't you? So you could do stuff to it. That was great, and that is how the Xbox Media Center actually came alive, wasn't it? Because the Xbox you could modify so it would run, or you could play videos and stuff like that, and videos. They would have been videos back then, wouldn't they? You'd have had to go and buy it as a video, maybe a DVD if you're lucky. It was pretty early on. DVDs were still kind of in their infancy back then. You think 1999-ish, DVDs were kind of still not really that.
DivX's.
Yeah, DivX was the thing back then. Dude Evolution 78 says Street Fighter 3 versus Alpha was too weird for me. Yeah, the Street Fighter series just got really out of hand. Like the original Street Fighter and Street Fighter 2 Turbo and all those kinds of things, or Street Fighter 2 Limited Edition, they were all really good. But then it all started getting a bit weird, and there's all those kind of crossovers and 17 million different characters that you could choose from. Very odd. Simon Arden says Thrill Kill on the PS1 was an oddball one. I don't think I've ever seen that. I never had a PlayStation though. I was really like Sega all the way down through that, and I avoided the PlayStation like the plague. I don't know why. Ben Shields says, I've still got my original Xbox. I soft modded it a few months ago. Awesome. Jax Teller's in the house as well, and he says, I loved a game called Vigilante 8 when I was younger. Chris Tech Tips says, Mike is live. Yes, I am alive and live, which is brilliant. Dave Burns says, I remember chipping my Mega Drive. I just followed the cartridge input corners and then it would accept US and Japanese games. That's a proper modification. Hilarious Compilation says, hey, I love your content. You inspired me to start my own YouTube channel. It's not about games, but I still want to say thank you. Oh, thank you very much. And hopefully your compilations are hilarious, because we will be definitely trying to check them out a little bit later. Kath, remind me to check that one out. Dave Burns Summerfield laughing my ass off. Mike's Unboxing, you poor man, you didn't grow up with The Simpsons. No, it was kind of, I was probably in like a weird age group then. The Simpsons was probably, it was a little bit too young for me, but then also I wasn't quite old enough for it, if you kind of understand where I mean. I was probably in my
And you probably worked on it as well.
early 20s.
So you probably worked till 7.
I would have been working like weird shifts as well, so I probably would not have been able to catch it. But also, like when you're in your young 20s, The Simpsons seemed a little bit too kiddie-like, whereas when you get older, you see Simpsons as kind of the retrospective way that it is kind of like taking the piss out of itself, really. So
Like Shrek films.
Yeah, Shrek. Yeah, in your early 20s, you wouldn't go out and watch Shrek, but as a teenager, you probably would, just about. And as an older person, you'd watch Shrek because you'd kind of get the in-jokes. But as a kind of cool 20-something, you might not be so interested. Very much like we were probably more into things like South Park because it was like edgy and all that kind of stuff, and it's all new and it's on MTV. We were part of that kind of wannabe cool generation. So yeah, Simpsons would have been a little bit too kiddie-like. And in the early days, it didn't really have the reputation of being kind of what it is now.
Your colour changing tops with your heat.
Yeah, we were wearing our global hypercolor t-shirts and changing colour as we sweated. Matthew Day says, I remember getting completely stuck in Star Trek: A Final Unity. Yeah, what was the Star Trek game where you started off and you were in the Borg cube? I can't remember. Was that the Final Unity? I'm not too sure. That was a brilliant game. Wolfenstein, Captain Meets Adventure says, yeah, that was a great game. I enjoyed Wolfenstein. That was excellent. Max Payne. Glenn has come to the rescue with Max Payne. Max Payne, for me, was one of the very few games which I actually did. I loved and hated at the same time. I loved it because it was kind of had that Matrix-esque slow-mo bullet time thing, but it had like really, really weird, trippy cutscenes. And one of the cutscene games, or like kind of little sub things that you had to go through, was a weird thing about your baby and your wife being taken away and killed. And it's like, this is pretty harrowing. And it was all done with this kind of like trippy kind of, as if you were a bit stoned, which, let's be fair, probably back then may have been a little bit myself. But still, it was really like, ooh, wow, this is a little bit, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Not good. It's a bit chilling. And I was like, I need to get past this bit. This is not good at all. Give me back to the guns and stuff. I like shooting things. This is a bit too much. Ah, there we go. Star Trek Next Generation, I think. Yeah, that was the one. That was the one.
I thought that was for Ting.
For Ting?
Star Trek Ting.
Star Trek Ting? Do the evolution. Do the evolution 78. Kath, my wife, soon to be ex-wife, just thought that said Star Trek Ting. Next Generation.
Ting.
With Captain Picard. You know, the one with the shiny head.
And the ears like yours.
And yeah, that's right. Jack Seller says, the baby and the bloodline mission, all dark. Stay on the bloodline mission. Yeah, that was really, really dark. Like, properly dark. Skystalker says, gateway drug. We do actually have a group of stores, or we did have a group of stores in the UK called Gateway at the time as well. Irony, because we'd go there when we were stoned to buy food. Fear was great to play with the lights out. Yeah, I only played a little bit of that. Max Payne is special due to the gumshoe detective comic style of storytelling. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. Simon Arden says TNG, or Ting as Kappa says, is the best one. Yeah, I really did enjoy that. GoldenEye, obviously, classic. Never got into GoldenEye though, because that was a Nintendo 64 and I didn't do Nintendo. I was like, no, Nintendo's for kids. I'm cool. Sega.
We didn't get a Nintendo till the Wii, did we?
No. Actually, Time Crisis, that was really good. In the arcade, more so. That was fantastic. I always wanted to emulate Time Crisis, but you can't because the light gun thing. Quite difficult to do. Skystalker says, if the game wasn't multiplayer, I didn't play it. I like the social aspect. Now, multiplayer games in the late to mid 80s and early 90s weren't really that kind of commonplace. The most kind of multiplayer games I can think of back then would have been Championship Sprint or Super Sprint in the coin ops, where you had the 4 steering wheels and you had those kind of 2D cars which you could spin the wheels around and kind of drift round. That was a great game. I loved that game. And you could pick up the spanners for speed ups and drop oil and all that kind of stuff. Spent so much time playing that game. I love that game, but it never had that transition to the PC or any of the other consoles or anything really, because that spinning friction of the steering wheel in the arcade was just, it was one of those things you just couldn't replicate. Very much like Marble Madness, where you had that spinning ball, which again, you could not emulate it. So there were some games that you just had to go to the arcade for. Star Wars, the sit-in for the first Star Wars game, where you'd sit in and you had that joystick where you can control it and you were in a starfighter or X-Wing or whatever it was. Again, one of those games you cannot emulate or copy. You have to have the original. Yes, Cam?
What was that radio control car game where a big football would hit you and stuff?
Oh, yeah, that was good. Oh. Revolt. That is a good game. Actually, if you can get it, Revolt is a fantastic. That's a multiplayer game, and that was a really old school one. So you
radio control car.
Yeah, you drive radio control cars around your local neighborhood, and you get speed ups and pickups. And you can fire rockets. That was a really, really well done game. Love that. Absolutely loved it. That was one of the other games we played in the LAN parties. So there'd be 4 or 5 of us all playing that at the same time. It was absolutely brilliant. The modding community for Battlefront 2 is still going strong. That's surprising. Medal of Honor, I enjoyed the Medal of Honor games. They were good. Angry Doge says Star Wars is overrated, just saying. He's going to start off some hate there. There's a lot of people that will disagree with that, unfortunately. What else we got? SimCity 4. Yeah, the SimCity games were pretty good. Do the Evolution says, Mike's Unboxing Reviews now too. You love Sega games, but have you ever heard of Snatcher for the Mega Drive? That's a game ahead of its time. No, I wasn't aware of that one. I've not heard of that one. I'll tell you, I've probably mentioned this before, but one of my favourite ever games on the Sega platform was actually on the Mega CD. You know, those you can remember, the Mega CD was like an add-on, so you had your Mega Drive, and it had a game port on the side, and you could actually slide it onto a Mega CD, which was a CD-ROM based machine, but also had extra processing power, which gave it, I think, was it 32-bit? It might have been 32-bit, I'm not sure. I think it was 32 bits of memory address and all that kind of stuff, so you could store more textures and all that kind of malarkey. But because it had a CD drive, you could actually add CD audio, which for consoles and stuff was something that you'd never had. You always had these kind of scratchy synthesized voices, but suddenly you could have this kind of real CD quality audio in your games, and also CD quality audio like speech. So there was a game called Night Trap. Now I've mentioned this before. Night Trap, if you've not seen Night Trap, or you've not played Night Trap, you will not understand. But it was the first, or one of the very first FMV games, so that's full motion video. So they basically set a house up with all the cameras, and I think they had about 8 or 9 cameras in different rooms, and they would film different bits of the story unfolding in different ways. And as part of the game, you were in control of traps around the house. There was basically these kind of zombie type blood-eating creatures that were attacking the girls that had gone to stay at the house for the weekend.
Young, weren't they?
Young girls as well.
It's like
Dodgy,
sick about it,
dodgy,
really.
very dodgy, but still, I digress. They, the girls would go around the house, and basically the bad people would try and take them and take their blood. So you were in control of these traps, which were specially hidden around the house, and you had your controller and different rooms, and you had to navigate to the different room, press the button, and then when a monster or alien or whatever it was walked over the area where the trap was, you press the button and they'd go into a trap. And obviously, depending which room you were looking at, this all happened in real time, so you had to keep an eye on like 7 or 8 rooms at the same time and work out where they were walking to and from. It was super, super complicated for its time, but because it ran on CD, you could have that kind of linear storyline where things would unfold differently every time you did it. And we would sit there, again, as stoners, sit there, calf with our notepad, and literally we'd watch the game in every room each time for as long as we could until we ran out of lives or the game was over. And then we'd replay the game and calf would be like, room 1, room 3, room 5, and we'd try and do it. And we still never managed to beat the damn game. So I actually ended up watching it as a video. Someone on YouTube actually posted the video of the entire game of Night Trap from start to finish being completed perfectly. And I was like, yes, you sir are a genius, because between me, Calf, and about 5 other people that all sat around the screen on our 26-inch CRT screen trying to play it and work out what was the best way of doing it, it just wouldn't happen. So yeah, my hat's off to them. They did well. Oh, those were the times. What have I missed out? Soul Calibur. Never played Soul Calibur. Beneath a Steel Sky. Not tried that either. Ultima 7 on DOS. Not played that one. I've been quite sheltered, really. Ghost Seller says, I have Sega Mega Drive. Alexa says, the games you're all talking about sound cool, but playing live music on stage in front of a few hundred people was more fun. Yeah, I think that definitely would have been. Ninja47 says, Bubble Bobble.
Oh.
Now, funny enough, Bubble Bobble, I have actually been playing on this. Oh, did I actually turn it on then? No, I didn't. That's okay. Nearly turned it on. Don't want to get a copyright strike for the music on there. But yeah, Bubble Bobble and Puzzle Bobble and Rainbow Worlds, was it? What was it? Rainbow Island.
Oh, yeah.
All those are great games. Simon Arden says, I never watched Star Trek as a kid, but since lockdown I've really gotten into it. Star Trek up to Series 5 of The Next Generation. Really got into it, lol. Cheers, lockdown. Do you know what? If I had the time and I had to rewatch a series, it would either be Lost or Star Trek Next Generation, because Star Trek Next Generation is really good. Let's be honest. Even though the special effects and some of the kind of stuff that they did wasn't really brilliant, but as a whole series, or from start to finish, it was really, really well done for its time. And there were so many things like writer strikes and all sorts of stuff that happened through the lifespan of that series. It's amazing they got to the end of it. It really is. And actually, when it got... No, I shouldn't say that because I'll spoil it for Simon. But basically, it gets better. As it goes on, it does definitely get better. Do the Evolution says the Mega Drive is the add-on besides the X32. Yeah, you had the Mega Drive, you had the Mega CD, which went on the bottom, and you had the X32, which actually plugged into the top of the Mega Drive, and then had a 3D processing chip, so you could play Virtua Rally, Virtua Tennis. What was the other one? Can't think of the other ones. There's lots of the Virtua style games. Virtua Fighter, did I say that? Not sure. But yeah, lots of Virtua games which were based on the Sega, I think it was the AM2 boards. That was playable then. Wow, I seem to have some actual knowledge. That's frightening. How I ever managed to pick up anything in those days, I don't know. Oh, somebody just mentioned Panzer Dragoon. Didn't see that. Trent Shorter says, I never got to play Panzer Dragoon Sega on the Saturn. Yeah, I remember walking into PC World in Bristol, which was probably Courage then at the time, and they had a display on of Panzer Dragoon on a big screen. It's like, wow, that's like 3D AF. I need that. Never bought one. The Saturn was great, but did we ever buy a Sega Saturn, Kath? I think we did, didn't we?
No, Dreamcast.
Yeah, we bypassed it, went to the Dreamcast, didn't we? Oh, those are good. Bubble Bobble says the British noob. Played it with my mum and she remembers it. I find it fun. Yeah, Bubble Bobble was great. Dude Evolution says Night Trap, seen that, interesting game. It was brilliant. The other game that came out at the same time, which is based on FMV as well, which was like the full motion video, was at the same time, it was Sherlock Holmes, but I can't remember what it was called. And I would really, really love to get that again, because that was one of those games that, again, we tried to play and, like, we're idiots, basically. You're proper general basic idiots, aren't we? We are. Cash going like that, yeah, we are special. But yeah, we couldn't complete that either. We played that for ages and it's like, well, hang on.
I thought you did.
No, I never managed to complete it, which really peed me off. Anyway, moving on. Jack Teller says, I've Googled it. I've never seen a game like that in my life. And that is amazing. It really was very, very good. Captain Meets Adventure says, the Thing game was good. I've not seen that one. Mo says, there's different levels of stoners. There certainly is. Paperboy, great game. Paperboy, again, was one of those really difficult games to emulate as well, because in the arcade you had the handlebars and you could push them forward and back to go fast and slow. And it actually felt like a bike. And actually, if I remember rightly, it even had BMX handlebars. I'm sure it did, with mushroom grips on it. But it didn't have, yeah, no, it had mushroom grips, but it didn't have the foam bits to protect your things.
Inside your thumbs.
This the ones.
Jet Set Radio, was that the one where you had to jump on Coke cans?
Jet Set Radio was, yeah, no, that was, what was the one where you had to run along? Metro Cross. Yeah. Jet Set Radio was kind of like a spiritual successor to Metro Cross in a kind of weird way.
And I love Blood Money.
Blood Money, that was a good one.
You hated it because I made you burn it all the time.
You did. Panzer Dragoon is very rare now. I bet it is, because that was brilliant. The Dreamcast was a really good console. How they managed to screw that up, I really don't know, because it was based on Windows CE, so it was relatively kind of malleable, or you could do a lot with it. The discs were cool. I think it used a double layered or dual density discs, if I remember rightly. I'm sure you did. The controller was awesome. It had a really nice controller with memory support. You could take the cards out and all that kind of stuff. The graphics were pretty decent. It had a LAN port. No, sorry, it didn't have a LAN port. It had a modem, so you could connect to the internet. It's like, what is there not to like about the Dreamcast? But it just didn't do well. Wrong time, I suppose. Although saying that, I think we had a Dreamcast at the same time as we had a PC. So I can probably see why the kind of crossover, because the PC was much more flexible. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But it didn't work, did it?
Simon Arden says, I read up that at the time of broadcast back in the day, most Star Trek fans didn't like Wesley Crusher because he was that kid who could solve most things. But for me, looking at this now, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think, yeah, Wesley was kind of like, from my recollection, it was just one of those kind of typical ass hats. You basically just like, you didn't want to focus on him because you liked the other characters, and he was like this brat kid who kept on coming up to the bridge to see Captain Picard because he wanted his mum or wanted to see what the bridge was like, and he was so into Starfleet. It's like, just get the hell out, get back to your room, do your homework, and shut the hell up. That's what I should have told him. But instead they're like, no, come on in, Wesley, have a look around. Try my seat for comfortness. Comfortness, is that a thing? Comfort? Whatever. Mo says, Minesweeper got me through college. British Noob says, my brother got me a RetroPie for one of my birthdays. One of the best presents ever. I don't know I could enjoy games so much that were made before I was born. It is. There's some really, really good games out there, which it's really nice to revisit some of the older games, because some of them you go back and look at and it's like, how the hell did I play this? This is absolute crap. The burger game, what, Wimpy?
Yeah.
Wimpy Burger on the Commodore 64. I had really, really fond memories of that, but I tried to replay it on an emulator recently, and it sucked major balls. It really did. It was so like clunky and didn't feel right. Muckless says, hey Mike, did you get the Ions case? When is a review coming? Well, yes, I did. I did get the case, and it should hopefully be arriving tomorrow. I'm not sure what our schedule's like at the moment. We're pretty stacked, but I would like to get it done and out quickly. So maybe, depending on what time it comes tomorrow, I might try and get it done tomorrow and get it out from Monday.
Would be Monday.
Possibly, but
Monday, yeah.
We'll see. I might be able to do that. If not, it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll be coming out soon. It does look like a really good case for £26, but we will see. We'll see if I get impressed with it. You'll know if it's good or not, because if you see a video and it's there, it's like, yeah, it's good. Captain Meets Adventure says, Crazy Taxi, Virtua Tennis, and Sea Bass Fishing was the bundle I got with my Dreamcast. Crazy Taxi, now that is a game. That is a really good game.
Take me to the KFC.
Yeah, take me to the KFC, if only in lockdown. In fact, actually, Crazy Taxi is probably the only thing you can play now where you can actually go to McDonald's, KFC,
Without a queue.
the cinema, and have no crazy queues, or to actually be allowed to go there. ClickTechGev says, Afterburner and Outrun at the arcades took all my money on holiday at Great Yarmouth in my youth. Yeah, I was the same. Afterburner, the proper arcade cabinet for Afterburner with the hydraulics, that was amazing. That really was amazing. And Outrun as well, with a little bit of Magical Sound Shower, was it? I think it was Magical Sound Shower was the music. Yeah. That's like me and Kath in the car. I was not the blonde one.
But it made me travel sick.
Yeah. Ninja47 says, didn't the Dreamcast have online? It did have a form of online, yeah. It did have a dial-up modem. Actually, on the Dreamcast, what was that game?
That made me travel sick as well.
That made you travel sick, yeah. It was like the previous...
Kudos.
Yeah, you gained kudos for doing drifts and stuff. I want to say Project Gotham Racing, but I think that was the one that was designed on it that came out after on the Mega Drive.
Test drive?
Or not the Mega Drive, on the Xbox. Oh, what was it called? Oh, that's going to annoy me now. It might have been Metropolis Street Racer.
I think it was.
I think it was Metropolis Street Racer. That was an amazing game.
What was the one on the Mega Drive with Pea Soup?
That Mega Drive with Pea Soup, that was Lotus Turbo Challenge. That was a great game also.
I didn't get Echo the Dolphin.
Fred Young says, I use a Pi now for my retro gaming and I can take it anywhere, no PC required. Which, this is what this thing is going to be. Full review coming up. Glenn says, the game that got me into racing was Test Drive in 1987 on the Commodore 64. And ultimately led to me being a sim racer now.
Oh, is that the one where you had to change tyres?
Test Drive, I'm not sure, it might have been.
And the tyres change colours to needing...
Yeah, did the tyres change colour on that one, Glenn? Calf's asking.
You had white when they were about...
Tandoman says the absolutely obvious as well. So as things became better and we got a bit further up the food chain, Half-Life. The original Half-Life. That was a game changer also. There was also a game called Sin, which is a really early PC game. Around about 99, 2000 I think it was, Sin. And that was brilliant. That was really good. Chris Tech Tip says, who's played Star Wars 1, The Phantom Menace on PS1? I haven't. Not played that. I played Star Wars Pod Racer. Pod Racer was great. They're redoing that actually, I think. Or they may have done it. Matthew Day has said a classic line from Next Generation. Shut up, Wesley. Captain Picard would say that quite a lot. And I think even Will Riker did as well. Spyro says, good evening all. Good evening, Spyro. Oh, scroll too far. What am I scrolling for? I've got a mouse here. Metropolis Street Racing, someone said. Trenchwater says, yeah, that was it. Tanderman says, oh my god, these retro games on eBay are expensive. Got loads of these type in my loft. Yeah, if you want to make some money, that's it. Ben Shield says, Project Gotham came out on Xbox. I remember it. That's right, yeah. So Project Gotham Racing was the kind of spiritual successor to Metropolis Street Racing because it was done by the same company. I think that's why Metropolis Street Racing didn't get a reboot, because the people that designed that then went on to do Project Gotham. Which weirdly had nothing to do with Gotham and Batman. Never understood that.
Even though you look like Bruce.
Yeah, actually someone commented today, I think it was, might have been yesterday, I was a bit late answering the questions, but they said, like something along the lines of, oh my god, is it me or do you look like Bruce Wayne? Like,
with or without the mask.
Yeah. Words fail me. Kev says, Pit Stop 2, the tyres changed colour. Cool. Uh-oh, stream's gone. Oh no, it's not. It's me.
No, you're still there.
Anybody remember Soldier of Fortune? Vaguely remember that, I think. E.T. on the Atari 2600. Has anybody actually in the stream played E.T. on the Atari 2600?
I've never played E.T. on anything.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it in person. Apparently, it's bad, obviously, because it's on the Atari 2600, and all the games were pretty bad, apart from Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, maybe Pit Stop. Pretty much everything else on it sucked. Major balls. Oh, Wizard of War,
Pitfall, do you mean?
Battlezone. There was, okay, let's be fair. There was a couple of good games, and it did all right. What's that?
Do you mean Pitfall?
Pitfall was good as well. What did I say?
Pit Stop.
No, Pit Stop was a racing one where you had to play with the twisty thing. Proper racing. Yeah, but has anyone played E.T.? I've not played it. I don't know. But apparently it's actually supposed to be not that bad. No?
I like the new scenes
Ooh.
they put in E.T. for the 25th anniversary.
Oh yeah, they were good. Someone said there, Desert Strike. That was on the Mega Drive, I think. And that was it Mega Drive or Master System? That was really good. I enjoyed that, Desert Strike. Destruction Derby on the PS1. Now that is one of the few games that I played on the PC with possibly an emulator. Destruction Derby was brilliant. I loved that game. Skystalker says, Half-Life almost broke me. I had to upgrade hardware. I couldn't afford it. 1998, I was broke. I had to buy a 3DFX Voodoo 2. You think video cards are expensive now? Yeah, the Voodoo 2 over here in the UK, when it came out, was £149 for the Creative Labs version, the Voodoo 2, or 3D Blaster 2, I think they called it, which £149 back then was a not unconsiderable amount of money. It's probably, I don't know what the equivalent would be now, it's probably double, I guess, give or take. I don't know.
It sounds a bit like me with Sims 2, wasn't it? You bought it for my birthday.
Yeah.
And then ended up having to buy me a whole new PC.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Yeah, I bought Kath the Sims 2 for her birthday and I had to go through a similar process of whole new PC. That was an expensive birthday.
And then you turned fat in it and got really pissy. What if you made me fat? But it's because you haven't exercised, didn't it?
Tech Kev says they pressed more copies of ET than they had sold consoles, so ended up burying them in the desert. Is the urban legend. I think they actually did find them and they dug up a lot of them.
Yeah, next one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Driver, that was pretty good. I never got into that again, PlayStation title, really. Do the Evolution 78 says, yes, garbage. I threw the cartridge at my brother. That's all I needed to know. Do the Evolution 78 says, Desert Strike and Jungle Strike came to the Sega Master 1 and 2. Don't know about the 32X, probably not. Crash Bandicoot, that was another game I never really got into.
George loved it.
Simon Arden says, have you reviewed the DK case yet? No. DK case? DK case?
I'm just trying to figure that myself.
I'm not too sure which one that is. Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, another good one. Now actually, there's one that we haven't touched on at all, which was groundbreaking for more reasons than one, and that is Tomb Raider. The original Tomb Raider in 3D on the PC, where most people of a certain age and of a certain sexual orientation probably spent most of their time trying to adjust the camera angle so they could see Tomb Raider's little front lady bumps, let's say. You know you did it. Someone's definitely did it. Skystalker has donated 10 Canadian dollars and says, disco ball time. And I just realised actually, when that happens, the super chat light on my screen flashes as well. Never noticed that before. Unsurprisingly, very unsurprisingly, Kev has reminded us that there was a modification for that game called Nude Raider, where obviously things were made slightly more obvious, let's say. Although in seriously bad graphics. They weren't good. Yeah. Simon Arden says, David Aiken says they were more like lady triangles back then. Bumps were too many pixels, definitely. Kath was always obsessed with lady triangles, weren't you?
Was I?
Suntan triangles.
Oh yeah. That was important.
That was a thing in the 80s and 90s. That was always a thing. You always saw it, like front lady bumps with tan lines, like looked like triangles where they wore their bikinis, but obviously didn't take them off, so they had like white bits and then brown bits. Triangle tits, basically.
But they were fine to take their bikinis off for their filming.
Yeah. Spyro says, Mike, do you have a code bar at the back of your head? You look like Hitman. I've had that as well. So that is Bruce Wayne, Hitman, Kyle from the the war film. Can't think what it's called now. Private Kyle. Someone's gonna have to tell me in the comments. Also,
Mummy, the man from the Mummy.
The man from the Mummy and Kurt Angle. Who else was there? Yeah, there was, wasn't there?
Another wrestlery one.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, thank you for that. Simon says, yeah, the first player one you said on UK Hot Deals, yeah, has not turned up. I don't think it's ever going to turn up. Although I think one of our Discord experts, Seam at Night, I think he did get one. I think he mentioned it recently. I think. I'm confused. Happens easily. David Aiken says, what a phrase. Kath was obsessed with lady triangles. Yeah, that probably hasn't come out particularly right. Kev tested it for educational purposes. Jax Teller says, I remember playing a lot of Mickey Mouse games as a kid. World of Illusion. Yeah, we played that, didn't we? Mickey Mouse's World of Illusion. I remember playing that with Kath.
We hired that, didn't we?
Spyro says, show us the code bar. There isn't one. Full Metal Jacket, Trent says, that was it. Max Branning? Max Branning?
Not Ginger.
I'm not ginger. I'm tanned, I'm not ginger. Mo says Terminator. What, I look like the Terminator or playing the game?
Oh, we loved that.
The Terminator game.
Robocop.
Robocop was good, but Terminator was good because the Nintendo... No, what was the game? There was a console which came with the Super Scope. That wasn't Nintendo, I'm sure it was. No, it wasn't, was it? What console came with the Super Scope and you could play... That must have been a Sega one. I'm sure there was a Sega one. Yeah, you could have the Super Scope, so you could play Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and actually shoot the T-101s or whatever they were.
Mega Drive.
Might have been a Mega Drive. Simon Arden says, Mike is Picard's son.
Didn't you have to shoot ducks as well? There was a game that came with it.
Yeah, Duck Shoot. Yeah.
That might have been the master.
Duck Shoot. It might have been Nintendo. I might have just bought a Nintendo purely for that shooting purpose. Muckless says, the Terminator game made me break my console and almost the TV. Jack Seller says, is there any good Nintendo or Sega consoles with all these games already on it? Unfortunately not. No. Super Scope was NES. Yeah, SNES rather.
Can you put them on that thing?
So maybe we did get a SNES then. No. Some of them. Well, actually, yeah, you probably can, actually. Yeah, Nintendo or Sega. I've still got to work out what that does, actually. I think it does Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Game Boy, Mega Drive, Master System, and something else. I've still got to work it out.
But you haven't really said what.
No, for that
I
thing.
can't see that.
Oh, can they? For this thing. I've got to work out what consoles that actually does emulate, because this it was sent to me as like almost like a production sample from the Spinning Deal. And actually, if you want to get one in advance of the review, you can go to the spinningdeal.com and check it out and see what it supports. So if you do want to get yourself a little handheld, I think it's an 8-inch screen if I remember rightly. I'll measure it later. I'll measure it in the review. We'll let it be a spoiler thing. Alright, Trent says the SNES had the Super Scope and the Mega Drive had the Mencar. Mencar? What is that? I'm hoping that's some... Oh, Menacer. Is it a Menacer? Yeah, I think it was the Menacer. We'll see now if Trent replies. I think it was the Menacer. Or someone Google it. Help me out. Help out, brother. Can you get me a drink, please, Kath?
Yeah.
Yes, please. I just realised I've not had a beer yet. This is not good. Trent says, yeah, sorry, spelt it wrong. Yeah, I think it was the Menacer, I'm sure, because I didn't like the Nintendo setup, so I'm sure I would have bought the Mega Drive version. And I think the difference being is the Sega Menacer had a trigger button at the front and also on the hand at the front as well. So you had two buttons you could use, one for like grenades and one for bullets. I might be wrong. Matthew Bennett says, yeah, it was the Menacer. Thank you. Simon Arden says, another case you need to look at reviewing is the GameMax Vengeance. Looks nice. Yeah, I've not seen that one. And actually, GameMax has been a little bit quiet of recent, so maybe I'll give them a shout. Click Tech Operation Wolf. Yes, Operation Wolf. Now that was a great game.
You didn't fill up the fridge.
Is that cold?
No, because you didn't replace the ones you used in the fridge. Put another one.
Lukewarm beer. Cheers, everybody. Jack Steller says you need to do a video on some sort of all-in-one gaming device. It's there. It's on the table. It's literally in my hands. Click Tech Kev says, are you getting the Sahara keyboard mic? Don't know, don't think so. I've not spoken to the guys at Sahara in a long time. A few text messages, but I have seen that it's coming out, but I've not requested it, and they've not offered it, so I've left it. Yeah, Operation Wolf, Kev, that was a good shout. That was a really good game as well. I actually really enjoyed playing that. But again, it's one of those really difficult titles to emulate on anything other than the original arcade because of the gun. Trent Shorter says the Super Scope was more like a rocket launcher. Yeah. Muckless says, Mike, doesn't matter, that beer is shite. David Egan says, Mike, can you grow a beard? You'd make an excellent Bristolian God of War. God of War. I don't either, really. I've never played God of War. It's a thing though, apparently.
They spell it backwards.
No. Calf asks, is it spelt backwards? Am I the dog of war? Thanks for that.
Sorry.
Okay.
Lovely.
Well, to be honest with you, I think that pretty much wraps up tonight's stream. I think we've really, really wrung out as much juice as we can from the retro gaming session. So if you want to see...
Didn't even mention the Leisure Suit.
Oh yeah, didn't measure Leisure Suit Larry.
Measure.
If you want to see what this bad boy is like in the next few days, then stay tuned because that'll be coming. So we'll be having some serious retro gaming on that. On a massive screen as well, which is really good for those in a certain age group like myself where your eyesight isn't as sharp as it used to be. So a nice big screen, and actually it does play videos as well, and you can obviously view photos and stuff. So if you just want a device where you can take it away with you, watch some videos, play a few games as well, absolutely brilliant. But anyway, we'll take a look at that later in the week. David Aiken says, see you in Unreal Tournament. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be firing up a little bit of Unreal Tournament later on this evening, hopefully. Time allowing. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps things up. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to the Super Chats. Thank you to... I keep on wanting to say the wrong name. Catherine.
Yeah. Matthew Bennett.
Matthew Bennett. I want to say Chris Bennett for some reason, but it's not Chris Bennett. Why does... Strange. Matthew Bennett, thank you very much for sending in the fractal for us. Appreciate that. What's that, Kath?
He's put on there, me.
Me, yes, you, Matthew Bennett. Thank you so much for sending that in. We do appreciate that. That is awesome. And when you get your t-shirt, let us know and maybe post a picture of you wearing it on Facebook on our page. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Or Discord if you want to, whichever floats your boat. But anyway, that wraps things up. Reviews on all this stuff coming up in the next week or so. In the meantime, stay safe, be cool, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. I have to click on this end stream thing every single time. Good night, everybody.